Guy Britton here with Waves Audio, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Curves Resolve plugin. One of the biggest issues in a mix is when multiple sources occupy the same frequency range and they start fighting each other for space. Resolve helps fix this issue by automatically carving space between two tracks without affecting their original tone. And unlike other track spacing processes, Resolve listens to both tracks and only carves where conflicts actually occur.
But when we're banding up, I feel so in love. Tell me every single thing in the world was built for us. I only ask cause I'm drink driving so fast in this room.
This results in a more powerful, transparent and controlled sound, making Resolve almost impossible to overuse. Think of Resolve as a tool that carves only where conflicts occur and only when they occur. So in order to use Curves Resolve, we need to insert an instance of the plugin onto the track that we want to affect and then set the sidechain to the track that we want to protect. So for example, if we have a guitar track which is taking over the frequency range where the vocal should be, then we would insert Resolve onto the guitar track and sidechain it to the vocal in order to carve a pocket of space in that guitar for the vocal to cut through. Or if we have the classic problem of the kick and the bass fighting for the same low-end space in the mix, but the kick is what's driving the groove of the song, then we would insert Resolve onto the bass track and sidechain it to the kick, allowing the kick to still cut through. Remember that every mix there's a trade-off, and it's up to you as the producer or the engineer to decide which part is the most important to the feel of the track, but we can use Curves Resolve to protect the priority track and carve space into the others. So how is Resolve different from the other Curves plugins? Well, Curves Equator fixes resonances, AQ shapes the tone you want, and Resolve handles how tracks interact. So inside the plugin, we have this main knob here, which controls the intensity of the carving. And this is quite hard to overuse because Resolve really protects the tone of your original source. Then we have this learn function, which if we enable this, it allows Resolve to listen to the audio coming into the sidechain and analyze it to then decide whereabouts to carve space into that audio. Then once Curves has learnt what that sidechain audio sounds like, it then enables this dynamic to steady slider, meaning that dynamic mode is working in real time, carving the audio as it's hearing it, and steady is more like a snapshot of the entire sidechain, and we can go anywhere in between these two to get a blend of both kind of behaviors. Dynamic mode is much better suited to sounds that have a lot more dynamic range and are a bit more unstable, so things like acoustic guitars, pianos, back-end vocals or synths that are evolving over time, whereas steady mode is more for things that are static and don't jump around so much in terms of volume and tone. We can also use this freeze button up here to capture a momentary snapshot of the sidechain signal and lock that curve in place. And the ability to go between these different modes and fine-tune this is a major USP of the plugin, and it's completely unique to Resolve. So I have this track here where the main synth and the lead vocal are both fighting for the same space in the mix. So let me show you how just by using an instance of Resolve and cranking up this main control knob, we can carve some space in that synth for the lead vocal to cut through.
So how's it supposed to be? How it's supposed to be? If you were me, you'd see it differently. I only ask cause I'm drink driving so fast, something's gotta give soon. But when we're banding up, I feel so in love. Tell me every single thing in the world was built for us. I only ask cause I'm drink driving so fast in this room. But when I drink,
so how does Resolve actually decide what to carve? Well, what it does is it compares both tracks, which you can see in this sidechain screen here. It's finding overlapping spectral energy, and it's only carving where the masking is occurring, which is what this blue waveform is showing us here. So if it's not finding any conflicts, it's not going to be doing any processing, which is what helps to keep it transparent and preserve the original tone of your source. We also have these different modes down here, which contain different sort of snapshot behavior presets optimized for various different things like vocals, guitars, kick and snare, all kinds of different stuff, which is really useful for just quickly dialing this in. There's also this advanced control panel down here, which allows us to fine tune this even further. So we have attack and release controls, there's a limiter, and there's also this multi-band section up here, which allows us to adjust the different frequency bands and adjust how much carving is applied to each of those bands individually. So let's take a look at the low end in this track now. For me, I feel like the 808 is just swallowing up all those low frequencies. It feels totally boomy and uncontrolled, and it feels like it's really masking the kick drum. So let's see if by inserting an instance of Resolve on that 808 bus and sidechaining it to the kick drum, if we can clean that low end up, tighten it up a bit, and allow some space for that kick drum to come through a bit more. So now let's take a look at using Curves Resolve to shape the low end of a track. I have this song here where the bass guitar is totally taking over the low end and it's getting in the way of the kick drum. So by inserting an instance of Curves Resolve on the bass guitar and sidechaining it to the kick, let's see if we can clean that low end up and allow some of that punch from the kick drum to come through. Wow, yeah, that's certainly tightened up the low end of that track. The kick drum's cutting through so much better now, and it's so easy to do just by pulling up this kick drum preset, bringing down these low frequencies in this band below around about 100 hertz, and then just cranking this up. It's really helping that kick drum to cut through and control the low end of that bass guitar. Now you might be wondering why there's a duck icon in this plugin, but if we click on this, it enables the ducking mode. And if we move this slider over to the left, this basically engages the traditional ducking style where it's reducing all of the frequencies within the spectrum equally, and it's going to give you that hard, pumping kind of sound. Whereas if we move this slider over to the right to the unmask mode, what this is going to do is only duck the frequencies where the sidechain is active. So basically this allows you to still do extreme reduction, but without that pumping effect. So everything will keep its rhythm and the non-conflicting frequencies won't disappear when the ducking occurs. Resolve's ducking isn't just level reduction. It's actually doing very targeted, specific reduction, but only on the frequencies where it needs to. Now, one of my favorite ways to use Resolve is to use it on my vocal effects to clean them up. So what I do is route all of my reverbs and delays to a single bus and then insert an instance of Curves Resolve on that bus and sidechain that to the lead vocal. And what that does is it cleans up any unwanted muddiness or masking from the reverbs and delays and gets them out of the way of the vocal. So you can still have this lush, dense reverb sound, but it's not masking the vocal and it's not getting in the way of the rest of the mix. So let's take a look at this in action. So what we're going to do is activate the ducking mode and set it to unmask, and then this is just going to target the frequencies that are getting in the way of the vocal and duck them out of the way. So let's take a listen to this.
Call me when it's over and you land. When we run out of time, I'll play the part, I'll be your friend. Looking for an exit sign, wishful thinking it's a ruse.
You can see how easy it is just to clean up those vocal effects, remove all of that low mid junk that's totally swamping the vocal, and it allows the vocal to have so much more clarity while still retaining the tonal quality of those vocal effects. Okay, so finally, let's look at how we can use a few different instances of Resolve at the same time on a mix, just to clean the whole track up a bit. I've got it on the vocal effects, I've got it on the backing vocals, and I've got it on the guitars. And this is just going to help to create some space around the lead vocal and give the whole thing a bit more clarity. So let's take a listen to what this is doing.
I never trust a pilot, and I'm always looking back. Nostalgia's a killer, never really where I'm at. Say you for my own, but I linger in the past. I do. And I'll never tell you that I can't fall asleep at night. You're floating through my mind, and I understand it's all in my head, tied up in loose ends and words I never said.
So you can see how easy it is to clean up a mix just using Curves Resolve. It's transparent, it preserves the natural tone, and it's kind of impossible to overdo it. But the great thing about this plugin is if you just need it to be simple, then it can be. But also if you need to go in deeper and you need to dial it in, there's so many different ways that you can do that. So if you want to check out Curves Resolve for yourself, then you can do so on the link in the description right now. But before you go, do drop us a comment below and let us know what you think.